rusty wheels and knew I'd take her home. I brought her to my farm in an Amish neighborhood where simple living's valued. She'd be loved and understood. I put her on a treadle stand and coaxed her wheel to turn. I felt her joy and easing with my study and concern. I cleaned her and I oiled her, showed her off to all my friends, repaired the hurts of years and let her sew again.
Hello everybody, welcome back. This time we are going to be painting this girl. I looked up her serial number and she was born in 1920, so she's 124 years old now. Congratulations. It's very noisy inside. That's why I am filming this really quickly outside, because my husband is working on making a few boxes, and I'll show a couple little clips of that. Very noisy though. What I have is, she is completely clean. I pulled her out of my e-tank this morning, but there's still, residual paint that's on there. So I have to come back with a drill with a massive wire brush on it to get everything off. But she looks great now. And I have cleaned up underneath also, so that's going to get primered also. And I have not masked her off yet. I just grabbed her. I've masked off her little parts, so I've actually done a preliminary polish on the outside of the wheel, just using sandpaper, starting with a rougher one to get finer and finer and finer. I think the last one I used was like 1,000 grit. So it's fairly shiny. The bobbin winder, what I don't have the blue masking tape on, you can see the white there. That's going to dry clear. That's the latex masking. That's on places that, masking tape would be a little tough. And then this is fine. So let me go ahead, get her all masked off, and get some filler primer on her, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, welcome back. It's actually been a few days since I put primer on her, and she is going to get her enamel on today. So I just wanted to give you a quick look at what she looks like masked up. I do have the slide areas masked, but I am painting the center area there. And of course the accessories, a bobbin winder, belt guard, and wheel. So let's go over to my table and I'll show you what I'm going to do. Okay, so first this is going to be her base. This is actually wood. They were tearing out and renovating a lot of stuff in an old Victorian hotel near here. And my husband took some trim boards from their discard pile, and we're actually making these out of those trim boards. So this wood is actually probably even older than the machine, so that's kind of cool. I'm going to be putting a coat of something on that pretty soon to protect it. But what my plan is, we are going to go for a cute little fairy-ish toadstool type of a motif. And if you look, the coloring of those toadstools and maybe like these little flowers in there, it's kind of similar to this color. This is called Rustic Pink. It's a very rustic looking pink. It's like a very pinkish terracotta maybe. I don't even know. But that's going to be her main color. I haven't decided yet if I'll put pearl over that. And then once that color is on and has been drying for a couple days, then I'll put the decals on and then finish up with, her clear coat. And I've been switching around clear coats, and this is what I'm using now. It's a really nice thick clear coat, and it's one that I have found that I can use over a 1K enamel, and so that's always great. So let me go ahead and get my mask and everything on and get into my bay. All right, I've got the first coat on her, so I'm going to let that dry for about 15 minutes. And while she's doing that, I'm going to get out my shellac for the box. Okay, I still have my mask on, so I sound weird, but I think the first coat was a little lighter, the second coat heavier. I think that's going to be good. I'm not going to be putting a pearl coat over this. I think it's going to look good without it. So I need to let this dry for a couple days, at least one day before I start working on the decals. But I wanted to show you the box. Some of the paint, we got a lot of it sanded off, but in the cracks there's some of the paint that was still from the original hotel. And it's kind of neat because you can see there's several different colors that were going on there. And so I wanted to show you how dark the shellac coat made the box, and that's going to protect it. Okay, so while I'm waiting for paint to dry, I have a lot of work to do cleaning parts. You know, lots of parts to clean. And I've shown this many times, but I figure we have a little bit of time to kill. So basically, I take one little baggie at a time and deal with all of its little components at once. Everyone has their own favorite method. Mine is to use a 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐞 hand cleaner kind of stuff, and after a while it liquefies, so I just pour some into my little tin there. And I need to get a mat to put on here to keep my little surface clean. Okay, so this is, you know, grease, grime, and rust that's been on here for at least 100 years probably. And so to clean it off, once I put a coating of whatever, you know, on there, the first thing I'm going to do is get a wire brush on my Dremel, and actually I'm going to change this out and put a wheel on here. If it's a small part, I use these lovely pliers to hold on to it while I'm working. A larger part I can hold with my hand, and you can see that the rotary tool is able to pull a lot of that off. So like up here on top, okay, that's clean. I don't do a final polish at this stage. I just get it to where all of the grime is gone and it's clean. Just before I reassemble it and I pull my clean parts out of the bag, that's when I'll, you know, put them on the buffer and everything, and the parts that are going to be visible make really shiny, or, you know, the parts that are metal on metal make those really shiny. But at this point, if I can just come in here, scrub down like so. Let me get another dirty rag. This one's a clean one. It will be dirty soon. And I wipe it off. You can see that it's coming off really easily. I could not imagine doing parts cleaning without a rotary tool and a wire wheel of some kind, so highly recommended. Anyway, I've got probably several hours of this to do, you know, to get all of these clean and ready to go. So I will see you when the paint is dry and we're ready to decal. Welcome back, everybody. It's been a few days, and as you can see, she is not just the base color. After I had her painted and she was dry completely, I was looking and she looked a little dark to me. So I did come back and put a coat of pearl over her, and I think that that's going to go with the decals a lot better. So all good there. After she was dry, I have her in my booth in there. You can see the heater in the wall. I put her table somewhat near the heater so that she could get warm and toasty and hopefully let her paint dry a little bit quicker. And I think that it's dry enough right now that I'm going to go ahead and get started putting the decals on. All right, so I'm just going to get started. I'll just show you a couple and tell you what I'm going to do. So if this is where my emblem, my medallion is going to be, I'm going to put, basically I'm going to put little mushrooms going around here, a centerpiece, and some off to the side. So if these decals I printed on a clear water slide decal paper, okay? So that way the color of the paint is going to come through. And I think it's going to be really cute. So I have a lot of decals to assemble. I'm going to be putting them up and around. I haven't figured out everything exactly, and honestly the angle of my camera is bothering me right now. So let me get a couple things reconfigured here and I'll be right back. Now I do have one little fairy that I'm going to be adding on here, and I'm going to have her over here on the column just kind of looking at this little mushroom right here, reaching out to it, and everything else is just going to be a little mushroom garden. So once the decals, I soak them in water with just a little bit of dish soap in it. Once they slide off the paper really easily, and that could take up to a minute, honestly, but they're sliding off very easily like that, that's when I'm going to go ahead and place it and then pull the paper off. Okay, so let me go ahead and get her decorated. I'll show you what the final look is. All right, I think I've got her all decaled up. So take a look. She is going to be the little mushroom machine. If I can get my camera to focus correctly on her. Got little mushroom garden going around the column here. And in the center, I have a little center motif. Up here, there's beautiful things on the back. And down on the base. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it, this machine has actually sold. I sold her last night to a lovely repeat customer. Thank you, Lydia. Okay, so now I think she's focused a little bit better. I'm not too sure why that wasn't working. But yeah, she's sold already, so sorry about that if anyone was wanting her. She's a fabulous little machine. I am just having so much fun with these little magic mushrooms, literally here. And the one little fairy, I think, is perfect. So basically what I'm going to do now is put her back into my paint booth on her little table near the heater, so that the heat overnight will make sure that any little bit of water that is trapped behind these decals has a chance to come out and evaporate, because I'm going to give her 2 days before I do my clear coat over her, but I want to make sure she is super, super dry before then. All right, she is done. Her clear coat is dry enough that I could move her out here and give you a little look. I think that she's turned out so adorable. She's going to need to dry completely to cure. I'm going to give her another couple days just to make sure, but I am going to go ahead and pull off her masking right now. I think that that would be a good call at this point. But that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And next time, we're going to be putting her back together.